Hi, Jumpstarters. This is Beth from Northville, Michigan, and today I have Elissa Paullisen with us from Olney, Maryland. She is one of my top professional organizers in my little coaching team, in my coaching world, and she's going to share some insight with us today about her business, how she got where she is, and she also serves the DC area, Washington, DC. So welcome to my hot seat interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So you've been with me for a few months and you did my mini course. You were one of the first girls that did my mini course, and that's gone really well. I know it's gone well for you.
Yes.
So we're just going to start way back at the beginning. We're going to ask you, what was your life like before you found organizing and before you even knew it was a thing?
I had started out in a lot of kind of low-level retail jobs, and I had moved myself over to office work and did okay there for a while, but really the jobs I ended up in, the administrative support jobs, didn't have a lot of mobility and didn't have a lot of future for making decent money. And that was frustrating, and especially having lived in Boston and then now near DC, you need to be able to make enough to live and to put some away and to live, be able to go on vacation and do things. And I think it was just kind of a constant struggle of feeling like there weren't enough hours in the day to make enough to make it worthwhile.
Right. Okay. And then when did you figure out, okay, I'm good at organizing. I can do my own home. Maybe I've helped with family and friends. When did you think maybe I could make this a career and make this a job?
It was actually, I believe, when my sister, we lost my brother-in-law suddenly, and my sister was really struggling with the move, and it was beyond overwhelming to her to have to go through these things, and she needed to get out of that place because the memories were too hard, and she needed support in ways that were beyond just packing things up and moving them. And I remember going through that process, and my mom actually said to me, she said, "You should do this for a living." She said, "People do this."
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I said, how do I do that? And she goes, "Well, you just start. You just start doing it." And I tell this story because it really is. You just start. You just start doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Fast forward a little bit further. How did you find me? How did you find my group? Do you remember anything about that process? Like being on Facebook, trying to get information, basically.
Yeah. I had been poking around, trying to find some design groups and trying to get myself positioned more so that I was learning as I'm going through, because Lord knows I spend enough time on Facebook. So figured it might as well be productive time.
Yes.
So I tried to find some design groups, and I really was interested in learning more about that editing side of design that we do, and placement and finalizing things. And I ended up finding some of these other organizing groups, and I ran into you in one of them, and I was in the Jumpstart group for a little while, I think. Not too long, but just a little bit before you and I had interacted directly. But I just remember you had posted something about, hey, welcome to, if you want to look at a Jumpstart group. And I thought, well, I'm not really just starting, but I think that this will still be very good for me for where I am.
Yeah, you were actually doing it. How long were you doing it at that point then?
So I had done it very, 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 very part-time for a little bit, for a couple of years before I moved down here. And then I had my daughter and stopped for a while. And then when I restarted, the pandemic happened. So there were a few months that I was working maybe 2-3 days a week, 4 hours a day, but I really wasn't making a whole lot. I was making enough to make it worthwhile to work, but not so much that I was really bringing anything in to speak of.
Substantial income.
Yeah. And then, when my daughter was a little older and after we got the vaccines, that's when I really dove in.
Yes, I do remember that part. Okay.
March or April of this year.
Okay, great. What was your very first job? And then what was your first big job that made you realize, okay, this is a viable way of earning money? Tell me about one of those.
They were my first two jobs. My very first job was for a friend of mine, and I think I charged $30 an hour. And we went over and had chicken dinner, and like, you know, I organized, and then my husband came by and we all had dinner together because these were people we knew pretty well.
Okay. Oh, good.
But I remember going through her shoes and she said, "Oh yeah, we're keeping all of those." And I remember thinking, something has to change here. And so I put all the shoes out in front of her and she goes, "Oh no." That was the first time I learned, like, okay, I do have a knack.
Take
I have a
things
knack
out
for-
and show them the stuff. Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Good.
because she goes, "Oh, I have 6 pair of those. They look all the same." And I was like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
And that was fun. And that was a, you know, it was a low risk job. And but it was high reward. I mean, Kate was happy. She was happy, and she put pictures up. And one of her friends was my second client, and she is a very, very dear friend of mine now. And I mean, it's like I collect them. They're just such amazing people that we run across in this business, because I think you come in with compassion and you meet them where they are, and it makes all the change in the world for them.
Right.
So this second one, it was working on a house that had 3 people. I'm sorry, 3 children. There were 5 people there total, and it was chaos. It was quite chaotic.
Cool.
And I remember, you know, I have some before and after pictures, I think, still on my page from the second job there. And they weren't great pictures, and I still didn't know what I was doing. But I remember my husband tells a story about how I called him up the first night I was there, and I said, "I don't know if I can do this." I said, "I don't know if I can help her." And, you know, now it's been 6 years later and we're best buds and the house looks great. And it's been, you know, but we just plugged away. And my mantra is pick up the next thing. You just pick up the next thing.
Good. Good. How many hours did you work on that job, that big job, do you think? Was it several?
Oh God.
Hundreds?
60. And it was also maintenance, so I would go back and redo, you know, different sections. We did the whole house. So and this is, I don't recommend this for everybody, but for me, because of who it was and because of the connections I knew her through, I actually would go and stay there for 3 days.
Wow.
And I would stay at her house, and I would help with the kids, and we would work together. And, you know, later on she had surgery and I went and just took care of the kids and stuff because we were good friends. But that's a non-traditional exchange, obviously. But I would just stay there for 3 days when her husband would go out of town, and I would come and organize, and we would just do like 10, 12-hour days.
Wow, that is completely, wow, that's dedication. That's great. She must have been so happy when everything was done and
oh, it looked amazing.
Put away and donated and everything.
It taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about pacing. It taught me a lot about connection and about, you know, just space, finding homes for things. She said to me, "I didn't know that things needed a home."
Oh yeah.
That I thought I could just have this stuff and like they would find its way somewhere. I said, "No, you gotta have a home. You gotta have a home."
Good point. Very good. What do you feel like you bring to the table as far as being a good organizer? What are some of your skill sets?
I think that most people who do this kind of job are capable of doing the work. I don't think that's necessarily the hard part. I think the hard part is when you are confronted with, you know, a hoarding position, which I do hoarding jobs. But mostly if the client has already done the hard work of contacting me, my job is to make sure that they are taken care of emotionally. And that's my secondary goal. Like my primary goal is obviously to get the job done.
Yes.
But my secondary goal, and I mean, I almost put it first, is to make sure that they're reassured that they're not the only person that has been in this position.
Right.
That I'm going to take care of them and we're going to get there. And that it is possible to get there, and that it doesn't matter why it happened. It only matters that we're resolving it.
Right.
And when you go with that, when you approach each client with that, they feel that. When you talk to them honestly and just chat as a friend and just let them know that you're there to take charge and follow their lead, ask a lot of questions, you know, don't be afraid, but ask categorical questions. You know, you want to know like which how do I do this part of this process in a way that is helpful to you?
Mhm.
Because it doesn't matter what I think should happen. It matters what is helpful to the client. They're the ones that live there. It's their stuff.
Right. Every job
I
is
think
different. It's every
that
client is different.
mentality, I think it really, really makes a difference to people. That kind of concierge service
Mhm.
of like, because this is an elite concierge service. And we need to remember that we're not the boss of that. We are in charge of listening to them and hearing that, hearing what they need out of job.
Right, right. Good, good. Do you have a team currently? Do you have people that work with
do.
you? Yeah, tell me about your team.
I have had Jessica with me for a few months now. I want to say she's been going on a few jobs, and she had done a job for a friend of ours that I was just doing as like a birthday present, surprise, whatever, for a friend that I knew needed it. And she had helped me out then. And I kind of said, no, if you ever want to come by.
Yeah,
And
help
so she
out.
finally took me up on that. And that's been wonderful. And I just brought on 3, possibly 4 new people.
That's amazing.
Because my schedule has gotten to be such that I don't have any days off, and I need to have days off.
Yeah, make sure you're not doing too many hours. Get those people in there to help you. Good.
I'm all about the hustle, but I'm also about respecting my body and my time with my kid and things like that. So I've gotten stable enough now that I believe I can send teams out. I want to train people up and send teams out. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think that's going to blow up in January, and we're going to have a great time.
Good, good. That's so much fun. That team process is really fun. Yeah. Do you have a niche, and what is it?
I don't really think so.
People that are a little bit chronically disorganized, but you have other people you like to work with?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like in the house niche.
Oh, no, more like a client niche.
The client niche, yeah. People, neurodiversity, people who are autistic or ADHD is kind of my specialty. If anybody ever has any questions about things like that, I welcome them to PM me. Because that kind of thing, I am ADHD, and my best friend is autistic, and I spend a lot of time in those communities.
Right.
And I'm good at that. And I'm also pretty good with the kids because I study child development. So
yeah, that's great.
I think that's where, but honestly, it's just be personable. People will like you,
Friendly and engaging, and yeah, ask them questions about how they live. Yeah.
It's touch base, little things, just, oh, so did you, how many siblings do you have? Did you grow up around here? And when you get people comfortable and they talk a little, it's easier, they feel more at ease.
Yeah. Right. So tell me about what kind of business you were doing before you met me, and then how has it kind of increased your sales and how many jobs you're getting, and tell me, like, before you met me, how your business was.
I had, as many people have, and I don't want to disparage the actual company, but I had a not great experience with one of the referral lead companies where I really was paying, I had paid an annual fee, plus I was paying all these lead fees, and the leads weren't good. They just weren't any good. And I don't know if it was the timing or what was happening, but I was not getting the jobs.
Right.
And I needed to get my website going. I needed to do a bunch of things, but I really didn't know how to start. So I think I was probably doing like $2,000 to $3,000 a month, maybe, which is still not terrible.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's great.
No, but it wasn't where
you wanted to be.
I should have been for the amount of energy I was trying to put into it. And I'm making all these calls and just dead end. So after, I would say, I switched over to Thumbtack, and I met with you shortly after that, and I worked the leads, I worked the website, I worked the stuff in the order that you told me to do, and I was having $5,000-$6,000 months within 2 months.
Right.
And then I had 110 and 111,000 since then.
Yeah. So steady progress, and pretty much right away, you almost doubled what you were making. So you were doing really, really well. Very good.
Yeah, immediately. And it was just learning almost immediately. That's great.
And you were a good student too. You did what I said. You tried everything. You tried these different things, and it started to work. It started to work pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, and like I said about picking up that next thing, like when I get lost, because like I said, I have ADD or ADHD, whatever they're calling it now. But when I get lost, even in a room can be overwhelming to me,
Oh, sure, sure.
But when I get lost, I look and I say, okay, pick up the next thing. And when I would get lost with
Yeah,
the
just
stuff
let
we
me
were
know.
doing, you were really good at directing me to that next step,
Yes.
at sussing out where I was, where I needed to be.
Mhm.
And I just did that one thing at a time. I just did the next thing. I
Yep.
picked up the thing as best I could and got that done. And that was critical.
Right, right.
We got there.
Yeah, and I do teach in my class that the order that you do the steps is really important. So you want to do that Facebook page before you do that website. So there's order and there's method to the madness. And if you do things in order, things will work. So
And
I
if you
try
can
to
do
stress
it
that.
simultaneously, that's great. If you do them out of order, like it's okay. We can still get there. But
Yeah,
the main thing is that you got to do that next piece. You
right,
just got to do
right.
that next
Keep
step,
going.
one at a time. Get them
Yep.
done. Knock them down.
Mhm.
That's it.
What are some of the pros about being a professional organizer as far as your schedule and your life? And what do you love about it in general? What appeals to you and what makes you think that, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this and I love my job? What are some of the pros?
I get to set my value, my own value.
Mhm.
I get to pay my leads really well. I get to pay my subcontractors really well. I want people to do well. I want to be a part of a team that all of us feel like we are getting a great benefit from it.
Mhm.
I feel really empowered by that. I feel empowered by having control over my financial future. I feel empowered by being able to build a team so that my body isn't the only thing keeping me above water.
Correct. Yeah.
I build that team and I can still make money even if my back goes out.
Yep.
I build that
Exactly.
team and I can coach.
Mhm.
I built that team and I can do what you do. I mean, and I feel like there's plenty of this out there.
Plenty.
Everybody needs this. I'm not in direct competition with anybody. I don't think of myself as in direct competition with anyone.
Right.
You get one job, I'm still working every day.
Yep. Yep.
But
Exactly.
I mean, like there are only so many hours that I can give to the job and things like that. And so I don't see it as competition. I'm not trying to build $1 million or $1 billion company here. What I am trying to do is have a solid future and a retirement and vacations
Yeah.
and to feel stable,
Yeah.
and that's what I want for me and for my daughter. And that's really it. I feel like I'm in control of so many more things now,
Right.
financially, and just as far as scheduling, I get to decide if I want to work that week.
Mhm.
I get to choose. I get to tell people I get to not take that client if they're
Yes.
not a great client.
Exactly.
If I go back and it's literally the same exact job every time because they throw all the clothes on the floor again,
Yeah.
I get to decide if that's a maintenance package that I want to enter into or if that's not something I enjoy.
Yeah.
And having a team, I then get to also let them decide, is this something you want? I really want my team to be empowered almost as much as I am,
Right.
and I think that there's a lot of joy in those things.
Good. Very good. Yeah. What are 3 words that describe you as a person and 3 words that describe you as an organizer?
I struggled with this a lot, so I had to ask my
You got
friends.
well, yeah, ask your friend. Yeah, no
I
problem.
did. I got honest, focused, and diplomatic.
Okay.
Um,
You're good. Yeah.
the other ones were, mostly um, goal-oriented, compassionate, and a few others like that. Just
Okay.
loyal.
Loyal. Okay. Good. Good. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay. What are some of your big goals for the future? What have you got? What do you want to do in 2022? What's your next step? What's the next thing you want to do?
So I would like to see a month where that 10,000 is doubled. I want to see a $20,000 month by the end of the year.
Okay.
That's my goal. I want to have my subcontractors working as many days a week as they would like.
Steadily.
I
Yes.
have one subcontractor in particular that you may know, who is ready to leave her nanny job if I can get her position
Awesome.
as a lead.
Yeah.
And since she's already been running her own company, I'm thinking, and maybe there's a partnership in the future, who knows? Like,
Awesome.
let's see where it takes us. And by the way, she and I are the same person, so that's very funny.
Okay,
But
okay.
she was very, very similar, so I think it's going to be amazing.
Ah,
And she's only 15 minutes from me, so she's one of the people that I'm bringing on to my team, and I really want to see those teams go out and just burn it all down, like just go out there and get it, you know.
oh, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
take over the city.
Yeah, you know, and I just, like I said, I'm not in competition with people who do home edit level of stuff. If you know, you're talking about people's niches and stuff, and
Yeah, you're
mine
a little
is
bit different
more,
niche. That's great because there's so many
I'm
different
more
niches.
like, I'm more hoarding to like, you know, 90%. I don't do that top 10%.
Yep.
But there's still there's a lot of space there. There's a lot of space.
Room. Yeah,
And there are
tons.
plenty of people who have these gorgeous, beautiful houses who are hoarders of clothes or things like that. So there's plenty of work to be had, and all I want to do is connect with people who need help.
Yep. Great, great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this hot seat interview. I appreciate all your insight and your good words, and love seeing that you are just crushing your business this year, and 2022 is going to be even better. So thank you for joining me and answering all my questions. And thanks to the jump starters who are also tuning in. Thanks again and have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye, Lisa. Bye-bye.